Hi everybody, today I'm going to show you how to make my Bible study journal. This is a complete collection, it's an A5 size, and we're going to be making this A5 binder together. The collection comes with this cover page, the tabs, and all the pages that need to be included in the Bible study journal. So let's get started. I wanted to show you how all of the pages are laid out in this folder so you know where to find everything. This is the main folder right here, and this has a book summary page, a chapter summary page, which is different than the chapter summaries you'd find in this folder. We'll get to that in a minute. There's a character study page, your cover page for your Bible study journal, an inductive study, which has instructions and then additional pages, a notes page, prayer pages, a Bible reading plan. This is a 1-year Bible reading plan. There's also a reading tracker that lists the Old Testament and New Testament books in the order they are in the Bible. Sermon notes, SOAP study, a verse mapping page, and a word study page. In the A5 tabs, you will see all the tabs for your Bible study journal, and each file comes with 4 different tabs. So you can place these tabs in whichever order you want them in your Bible study journal, customizing it to your needs. In the chapter summaries, there are summaries for every book of the Bible. The great thing about this is they're all separated by book and you can print them out however you'd like. So what I usually do is I will just print out the books of the Bible that I'm reading through at the current moment, maybe 2 books ahead from where I am at that point, because it does get a little thick. There's over 100 pages for these chapter summaries. So depending on how thick you want your Bible journal to be, you can customize it however you'd like. So we're going to start off by printing the cover page. I have a Mac, so I'm going to hit Command P, and I have an Epson EcoTank 3850. I'm going to be printing in plain paper, best quality. And you can do that by going down here where it says Preview and going to Media and Quality and clicking on plain paper, and then dragging the slider over to best. And then I'm going to make sure it's scaled to 100. And then I'm going to print. Now we're going to start printing out our tabs. So I am going to print my tabs in the order I use them most. So the first tab I'm going to print is the reading plan. So I'm going to go over here to reading plan, and I'm going to print this first tab only. So I'm going to hit Command P again, and then I'm going to do the same option, plain paper, best quality, and I'm just going to do print from page 1 to 1. That way it only prints off that first tab. I'm going to scale it at 100%, and I'm going to click on print. Now that we finished printing the reading plan, we're going to go in and print the next tab, which I'm going to do as the reading tracker. And I want that to be my second tab. So this is my second tab. I'm going to hit Control P. I'm going to use the same settings, plain paper, best quality, and I'm going to do from page 2 to page 2. So I'm just printing that second tab. I'm going to scale it to 100, and I'm going to press print. Now that my reading tracker is printed, I'm going to go through and print out the rest of my tabs in the order I want them in my Bible study journal. Now that we've printed out all of our tabs, it's time to print out our pages. All of these pages are sized for A5 paper. So you can either print on A5 paper, which is what I recommend because it's the easiest and quickest way to do this, or you can print on 8.5 by 11 paper and cut, which I don't recommend because it will take a lot of time. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come over here to my reading plan and I'm going to print it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go over here to US letter and I'm going to click down here on A5 paper. And I believe I entered this in here, so these are the dimensions you would use, 5.83 by 8.27. And then I'm going to scale it to 100%. You'll notice with these files that the pages are offset to the right a little bit, and I did that purposely because once you start punching the pages, it's going to be so close to the edge that if I centered everything, you would have been cutting into the text on there, and you need to write on these. So they're offset to the right a little bit so that it accounts for your binding. So I'm going to print these, and I'm not going to do two-sided because I don't want the ink bleeding through. So I'm just going to do them as single pages. I'm going to hit print. Now that we've gone in and I've printed my Bible reading plan, the next thing I'm going to print is my reading tracker. So I'm going to click on it and I'm going to do Control P. I'm going to go down here and select that A5 paper again. Make sure it's scaled to 100%. I'm going to turn off the two-sided printing. And if you're looking for A5 paper, I will link what I use in the description below this video, so you will know what A5 paper I'm using. So I'm going to print this, and I'm just going to go through and print out the rest of my pages. I'm going to go into the chapter summaries here, and I'm going to print out Genesis, because that's what I'm currently using. And scale it to 100. I'm not going to do two-sided. I'm going to print. I'm also going to print out Acts because I'm also doing a study on Acts at the moment. It's kind of going back and forth between Acts and Genesis. So these are the two that I'm going to print out right now that I'm using. Scale it to 100%. And do the A5 paper. I'm not going to do two-sided, and I'm going to do print. So I'm just going to go through and print out the rest of the pages for my study journal, and I will come back and show you how to put it all together. Now we're going to put everything together. I've laid out everything I need into a couple of piles here, but we're going to start with the tabs, and we're going to start by cutting them with my paper trimmer. I love this paper cutter. I'm going to link it in the description below. What I like about it is that you can get really precise with your cuts, which is kind of necessary when you're cutting these tabs. So when I cut these tabs, I cut on the inside of the lines. So you'll see here when I cut, there's a little line on the ruler, and that is what I use to line up where I'm cutting. So that way I can get nice and close to that black line, but have none of the black showing once my cut's finished. This is going to be really important when we get down to the tab portion of the tabs because of the little areas you need to get into. Now we're at the tab portion of the tab, and I would definitely take your time cutting these just because of the preciseness of it all. It is not going to be a very quick process, especially if you haven't been used to cutting these. I have cut a lot of these and I still take my time because I am kind of a perfectionist, but You'll see here that I'm just really trying to get a nice clean cut in there. And one of the things I love about this is see how it's pushing down? I can lift it up and just cut a little so that it gets really close to where I need to cut. And you can't really do that with a traditional paper cutter. So that's one reason why I do love this paper cutter. Once the cuts are done, I smooth out the edges a little bit because my blade is a little on the older side. Now we're going to cut the Bible study journal cover, and what I'll do is I'll take the reading plan tab that we just made and use it as a template. So what I'm doing here is putting it up to the light to see where it kind of aligns on the reading plan tab. And that way I can cut around where the reading plan tab is compared to the cover. And that's how I size my cover to make sure it's over anything I have behind it. Now that we have the cover done, I'm going to take the Bible study journal cover and use that as a template to make the back cover. And all I'm doing with the back cover is taking a blank piece of cardstock and sizing it to that Bible journal cover. So we have our Bible study journal cover, our reading plan tab, and our back cover. Now I'm going to finish the rest of the tabs for the journal. Our tabs are all cut, so now it's time to laminate. I use a Fellows 5mm laminate. It gives your back and front covers a really nice sturdiness, which I love. The 3mm is a little more flimsy. It depends on what you like, but I like a nice sturdy cover. When you laminate your tabs, what you should be doing is putting the tab in the top corner of the laminate. This way you have one finished edge, and then you also don't have to cut as much. And the reason why we don't laminate the original sheet these were printed on is because the laminate won't seal around the tab, and you want it to seal around the tab so that they don't come apart. So I'm just going to put these all through the laminator, and then I'll come back and we'll get everything cut. When cutting your laminate, you're going to be cutting the tabs the same way you previously cut them, but you want to watch out for the seal that the laminator made around your tabs because you don't want to cut into that. So give yourself a little room and create a little edge around the sealed part of the laminate. To give your journal a nice finished look, you might want to get a corner rounder. I use this to round my corners. You can't round the inside edges of the tabs because the corner punch doesn't fit there, but you can do the rest of the edges. The edges are also a little sharp, so this takes a little bit of the sharpness away as well. So I like this for a nice finished look, and if you want to try this, I'll link it in the description below. If you find that your tabs didn't seal very well with the laminate or that they're not really flat, you can run them through the laminator again once you're done cutting them, and then just push them down a little bit when they're a little hot and they just come out of the laminator, and that should flatten them out. To create a disc-bound journal, you're going to need discs and a punch. So this is the Create 365 punch, and I also have the discs. So I'll link all of this in the description below so you know where to find it. But we're going to start punching everything to put this all together. I'm going to start off by punching the tabs because I want to have a sturdiness when I go to put my sheets in. So I'm just going to create the journal with the tabs first, and then after that I'll add the sheets. It's time to insert your discs. I insert them on the tabs and covers first, and then I insert my pages. So I'll get this all set up, and then I'll start punching my pages and put it all together. Your Bible study journal should now be complete. You should have a reading plan, a tracker, chapter summaries to include your book summary, chapter summary, and summary pages for each book of the Bible, a Bible study tab where you can do the SOAP or inductive study, character studies, verse mapping pages, word study pages, sermon notes, prayer pages, and notes.